Pretty Rich is what they called. Yes, sir. Welcome to Pretty Richie Fantasy Football World. Yes, sir. For week 13. Yes, sir. This is what it is. This is what it's gonna be. Listen here. I try to come on early to give you guys the sauce early so you can, like I say, get your cup of coffee. It's always a beautiful day when you wake up on the right side of the dirt. So with that being said, let's get to it. Get your cup of coffee, have a seat, listen to what I gotta say, and you can either take my advice or you can do what you're gonna do from the word go anyway. But either way, you get it from my perspective from Pretty Richie Fantasy Football World. Yes, sir. Let's get to some of these updates here. Last minute updates. Okay, Darius Slayton for the New York Giants. He's expected to play through an illness against the Commanders today. What does that mean from a fantasy perspective? Means that, well, from a real life perspective, you got to respect any athlete that's going to play through any illness, any injury. So you got to give these guys credit. I take my hat off to each and every athlete that plays in NFL. Yes, sir. But the Commanders, okay, that's a divisional game. Divisional games, like I stated to you guys many moons ago, are very tough. They're very slow, usually lower scoring games. Usually, more often than not, they're lower scoring games. So if that's the case, 9 out of 10 times, you have to temper expectations for the players within that game. Okay. Daniel Jones, quarterback, has been playing pretty good. He's been providing low-end quarterback one numbers. Saquon Barkley, he had a couple of 2 rough weeks, the last 2 rough weeks, from a fantasy point of view. But you still have to fire up Saquon Barkley. He's a stud. You drafted him in the 2nd or 3rd round this year for fantasy purposes. So you have to, just plug him in your lineup. And if you have a better option than Saquon Barkley in your RB2 spot, I would love to see your team. Yes, sir. So Darius Slayton, he's been highly targeted from Daniel Jones. So you can plug him in for at least 8 to 9 targets, 5 to 6 catches, about 70 reception yards, and maybe a touchdown, because the Washington Commanders defense is legit, even though Young is not back. Chase Young is not back. Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. Okay, he's going to be a game time decision with the calf injury that he's going through right now. Calf injuries are very tricky. It's a deep soft tissue injury. Okay, and you can feel good 1 minute, and then when he get out there and go to cut to the left or cut to the right, he can re-injure that. It's basically a pain tolerance type of situation. Hold on, all right. Having a little technical difficulties, but that's all good. And so Josh Jacobs, he's a risky start. He's a risky start against the Chargers. I think that it's a good matchup, even though it is within the same division and the rivals and anything like that. They know each other real good. They play against each other twice a season, and then in the playoffs if they make it. So that's definitely something to monitor or to consider when you're starting up your lineup this morning. Like I was saying, Josh Jacobs has been balling out, okay? He's been balling out. So it's going to be hard to bench him if he plays. If he goes to the pre-game workout, you got to trust the training staff of the Raiders to put him out or put him down, depending on how he does during pre-game workout. So if any player is a game time decision, go ahead and they make it through that workout, because it's a very strenuous workout that the pre-game workout that these athletes go through. So if he is strong enough to do that and make it and pass, and the trainer say he's good to go ahead and fire him up as an RB2 this week, a risky RB2. So if you're going to have a boom play in your flex spot, just in case he goes down early from that injury or is pulled. Okay. But if you want to check back around 3 p.m., with whatever website that you utilize to look up last minute updates, you can do that, because you'll have the definitive answer on Josh Jacobs at 3 o'clock today, Eastern Standard Time. Let me see here. Michael Gallup. Okay, for the Cowboys, he's expected to play versus the Colts tonight, so that's going to be a decent matchup. I mean, it ain't great, especially when you got the likes of CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz ahead of you in targets shares. So, but you could definitely check him out as a desperation flex play, especially in PPR leagues. Okay, Deebo Samuel, he plans to play. That's not a surprise. Deebo Samuel, if he'll hobble out there on one leg, just to play. Okay, he's got a plus matchup against the Dolphins. Miami Dolphins is a decent defense, but they do provide a lot of fantasy points to the opposing offense. So if you want to go ahead and most people are going to fire Deebo Samuel up, and I can't blame you unless you have a better option at the position. You got to at least put Deebo Samuel in there as your flex play because he's very explosive. He can go off at any given moment. For today's matchup, if he's able to play, if he makes it through the pregame workout, like I was saying earlier, against Miami, he should be good for 3 carries for 20, 25 yards, about 7 targets, 5 catches for another 60 to 70 yards and a touchdown. That should be his stat line today. I don't pick everything correctly, but I'm just going off of my eye and my experience for doing this for over 20, 21 years, 22, 23, 24 years. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm usually good with predicting stats. I don't, get everything correct, but more often than not, I'm there. Yes, sir. I'm there. Trust. Okay. Next, Jerry Jeudy. He's expected to play against the Ravens. That matchup used to be plush for wide receivers, but ever since the Baltimore Ravens have obtained the services of Roquan Smith, the linebacker from the Chicago Bears, that's a whole nother defense. So you can't call that matchup a good matchup for wide receivers anymore because it's a different type of defense. It's a different portion of the season. It's getting cold out. There's going to be more designed runs for offenses because they want to control the clock this time of year because it's cold. That ball gets frozen, and a lot of wide receivers have difficulty catching on to them hard thrown balls from the quarterbacks. Lamar's got Russell Wilson. Even though he's still not looking like his old self from Seattle, he's still got a rocket arm. He's still the starting quarterback in NFL. So he's definitely getting it in. He got that power where he can get that ball, and if it's too hard, it's going to hurt his wide receivers. And then you playing against tighter coverage than as of old since Roquan Smith did there. Yeah, and he's going to Roquan going to put a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson. So like I said, Jerry Jeudy, he's expected to play through that ankle injury, so you can fire him up as a flex play. I wouldn't or even a wide receiver 3 against this matchup because you just don't know how well it's going to go down. Okay, so his stat line should be anywhere between 6 to 7 targets, 3 to 4 catches. I'll be happy with 60 reception yards. I don't think he's going to get a touchdown. If he gets a touchdown, I'll be surprised. But I think Courtland Sutton is the play of these 2 wide receivers because Courtland Sutton is healthy. He has been healthy. He's been getting the rapport down with Russell Wilson as he gets his NFL bearings with that team, that new scheme. It's just not working for Russell Wilson right now. And as for Courtland Sutton, he's going to get a lot of targets as he always does each week. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting close to 10 targets, 8 catches, 80 to 100 yards, and he's the one. If anybody's going to score a reception touchdown, it's Courtland Sutton. And that's all I would start with from the wide receiving core. I wouldn't start the third guy, Hinton, whatever. I wouldn't start him because he had one decent game since Jerry Jeudy went down, and that's that. I wouldn't rely on that. Not this close with it being fantasy football playoffs. No, sir. I wouldn't trust that. I would not trust that. Okay, moving on. Antonio Gibson is expected to play against the Giants today. Like I said, he's got a foot injury. Brian Robinson is back there. Curtis Samuel back there. The Washington Commanders have options today within their offense. I think that it's a risky start, but you got to play Antonio Gibson just because of his usage within that offense. His role is undeniable within that offense. And again, this is a divisional game against the Giants. They know each other very well. The Giants has a good defense. Washington has a good defense. This could be a lower score game that we would like from a fantasy perspective. Well, my projection for Antonio Gibson today, week 13 against the Giants, I would say 12 carries for 50 yards. That's playing it safe. Then 3 receptions for 27 yards and a touchdown. That's being safe. Now, I don't think he's going to boom. This is not the week to expect Antonio Gibson to boom just because of the matchup. It's a divisional game. Okay. And it's at Giant Stadium. It's not home in Washington. On to the next news update. Travis Etienne, he's expected to play. Don't forget about JaMycal Hasty versus the Lions. I personally think that you can squeeze this backfield. Yes, squeeze this backfield. You can flex both of them. Okay, actually, you want to put Travis Etienne as a just to be safe as an RB3, but expect RB2 upside numbers for him. And JaMycal Hasty, you can put him in as a desperation flex play because Travis Etienne has a foot injury, even though they're saying that it was minor and he could have played last week. Foot injuries are very tricky. He can get in there in the game today, cut the wrong way, making a move, trying to get out to the outside, and be injured all over again and be dinged up, which will provide running back JaMycal Hasty more opportunities within our offense today. So like I said, you could squeeze that backfield against Detroit Lions because, don't get twisted now. Detroit defense has gotten better since week 8. Since week 8 to now, Detroit has made some defensive adjustments, and they're not the Detroit Lions from the first 7 weeks of this season. They made some adjustments, and it is a tougher matchup. But at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers. They're still really bad against the run. Jamar Chase, next update rather. Jamar Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals, he's expected to play. He could have played last week, they're saying, and this is a great matchup versus the Chiefs today. So definitely fire Jamar Chase. You're not sitting Jamar Chase if he practices all week, even if it's at a limited capacity. He's a stud. These NFL teams and managers, they're going to take care of their star players. Okay, they're not just going to be throwing them out there, especially if the team can win without them, without the stud, which the Cincinnati Bengals has been doing. Burrow is a stud. He's been doing this thing. He's playing well enough for the team to win without Jamar Chase and Alexa running back Joe Mixon. Yes. Speaking of Joe Mixon, he's a long shot to play. Okay. Back to Jamar Chase real quick. I'll give you a stat line for today's game. He's going to get anywhere from 9 to 11 targets because Patrick Mahomes is going to force Burrow to throw that ball to keep up with that Chiefs the offense. High explosive offense, high octane offense. Okay. So Jamar Chase should get anywhere from 9 to 10 targets, 6 to 7 catches. At least I wouldn't be surprised if he gets at least 100 yards, anywhere between 100 and 127 yards, and at least 1 touchdown. He may get 2, okay? But don't sleep on T. Higgins. You definitely got to fire him up too as a wide receiver 2 within the offense because Joe Burrow is talented enough to support 2 wide receiver 1s within that offense. He's that talented. Not every quarterback can do that. So that's why it's going to be interesting to see how Jared Goff does down that Jameson Williams is back, that rookie that got injured or whatever. That's going to be interesting to see how the targets are going to be shared upon from a alpha stud wide receiver and Amon St. Brown and an alpha stud wide receiver in Jameson Williams. Even though Jameson Williams is a rookie and this is his first start from coming off that severe injury that he sustained at the end of the season in college, is today still may be Amon St. Brown's day, but moving forward, give it till week 15. I guarantee you're going to start to see the pendulum swing, and I'm not going to say they're going to cancel each other out, but it's going to definitely lower the ceiling for Amon St. Brown. It's just in my opinion, because I don't think Jared Goff, he's good, but I don't think he's elite enough to champion 2 wide receiver 1s and 1 single offense. That's like That's like Jimmy Garoppolo. He can't. Brandon Ayuk is either going to explode, or Deebo Samuel's going to explode, or Jawan Jennings is going to explode for any given week. It's not. It's not going to be 2 or 3 target. Look at poor George Kittle. He disappeared. Where's he at? Where's he? Because Jimmy G cannot support multiple stud position number ones at the position. He can't support 2 wide receiver ones. He can't support that, and on top of it, a tight end one for that week, for any given week. So it's going to be sporadic, especially with Jared Goff. Okay, he's still building the rapport with the young wide receiver, so that's something to watch as well. So I didn't mean to get off track with that. We're moving on. Joe Mixon is a long shot. Okay, Joe Mixon. So you can start Samaje Perine. Okay, so like I said, it's a good matchup against the Chiefs. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And if Joe Mixon sits or is limited in any way for Week 13, you got to go with Samaje Perine because he's matchup proof. He's in a good matchup. He catches passes out of the backfield. Joe Burrow loves him and trusts him, and pass protection. So you have to take all that into consideration. So Samaje Perine, if he gets a call today, he should be viewed as a running back 2 against the Chiefs. He should get you some very good stats. He should get you anywhere from 3 to 5 receptions for 40 yards, and he should get you close to 80 yards rushing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got at least 1 touchdown. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fire up Samaje Perine. Yes, sir. Okay. Travis Homer is out for Week 13 for the Seahawks. I got with an illness, and he has a knee injury. So not that anybody was going to bench Kenneth Walker against any team, against any defense, but that's just more opportunities for Kenneth Walker, and running back G.J. Dallas may get a couple extra looks as well within that offense today. That's a decent matchup. The Rams know they have to play good defense because they do not have an elite quarterback at the position. Stafford's out for the season. They running 1 veteran and another second string quarterback out there sporadically. I wouldn't trust anybody in that offense on the Rams side other than Kyron Williams. Okay. And that is pretty much it. Like I said, it's 8:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. So I just gave you guys a quick update. If anything it comes out breaking, I will post it on my shorts. So continue to stay tuned. I appreciate my community. I appreciate everybody who's been loyal to me and with me from the word go. You know what I mean? Everybody, people that really know my story. I just started out. I just wanted to write. I just wanted to be a writer for a fantasy football forum or channel or platform. Okay, and it developed into a little bit more. As you can see, I'm doing YouTube now, and I got my Patreon channel. I'm on Twitter doing this stuff. You know what I mean? And I love it. You know what I mean? God is good. God is good. But either way, like I said, continue to support me, support my channel as I grow. Right now, the rates are very low. You know what I mean? But as I grow, so will everything else. Like a business is like inflation. You have to keep up the times. You have to keep things in perspective and everything else like that. But I love what I do, and I appreciate doing what I do. And I appreciate you guys who follow and support me and share, share, and subscribe. Continue to subscribe. That's the way right now you guys are going to get, by the time you guys get this, I will be done. You won't be able to actually interact with me. Okay. But as soon as I get the subscribers that I need on these different platforms that require a certain a number in order to be able to invite people in on your live and stuff like that, you guys will be the first to know, and then we can interact more often. Okay, interact. You guys be able to ask me questions. You guys be able to have access to my webpage where I have my weekly rankings and my studs and my players of the week and my starts of the week, my sits of the week, and much more, much more. So guys have a lot to look forward to. Like I said, this is ground zero for PrettyRichie fantasy football world. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then you have to invest wisely, and one of the best investments that anybody can make is if you invest in yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing selfish about anybody going out, obtaining their own business, doing what they love to do, and investing in their self. A lot of people are afraid to invest in themselves. They're always going to look to work for somebody else. And you know what I mean? And that's all good. That's gravy. That's easy. That's safe. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to break the cycle sometime. You got to break the cycle, and that's what I'm doing. And I appreciate all my family, loved ones, and friends.